भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Oh, we are reading Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, text number 1. Shri Raja Uvacha Samapriya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daityam Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Shri Raja Uvacha Samapriya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daitya Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Shri Rajo Vacha Samah Priya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daityan Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Shri Raja Vacha Yasurud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daityan Avadhi Vishamo Yatha. Shri Rajo Vacha Piya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daityan Yatham. Shri Rajo Vacha Samot Priya Surud Brahman Indriyase Katham Daityan Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Mataji. Shri Rajo Vacha Samah Priya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indriyasyarte Katham Daityan Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Shri Rajo Vacha Samah Priya Surud Brahman Bhutanam Bhagavan Swayam Indrasyarte Katham Daityan Avadhi Dvishamo Yatha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. King Parikshit inquired, My dear Brahmana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone. How, then, did he become partial like a common man for the sake of Indra, and thus kill Indra's enemies? How can a person equal to everyone be partial to some and inimical towards others? Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9 chapter 29th verse, the Lord says, Sammoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyosti na priyaha. I am equal to everyone. No one is dear to me, nor is anyone my enemy. In the previous canto, however, it has been observed that the Lord sided with Indra by killing the demons on his account. Hata putra diti shakra parshni grahena vishnuna. Therefore, the Lord was clearly partial to Indra, although he is the supersoul in everyone's heart. The soul is extremely dear to everyone, and similarly, the supersoul is also dear to everyone. Thus, there cannot be any faulty action on the part of the supersoul. The Lord is always kind to all living entities, irrespective of form and situation, yet he took the side of Indra just like an ordinary friend. This was the subject of Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry. As a devotee of Lord Krishna, he knew very well that Krishna cannot be partial to anyone. But when he saw that Krishna acted as the enemy of the demons, he was somewhat doubtful. Therefore, he posed this question to Shukdev Goswami for a clear answer. A devotee cannot accept that Lord Vishnu has material qualifications. Maharaj Parikshit knew perfectly well that Lord Vishnu, being transcendental, has nothing to do with material qualities. But to confirm his conviction, he wanted to hear from the authority Shukdev Goswami. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Samasya katham vaishamyam. Since the Lord is equally disposed towards everyone, how can he be partial? Priyasya katham asureshu priti abhavaha. The Lord, being the super soul, is extremely dear to everyone. Why? Then should the Lord display unsympathetic behavior toward the asuras? How is this impartial? Surdascha katham teshu asauhardam. Since the Lord says that He is Sauhardam Sarva Bhutanam, the well-wisher of all living entities, how could He act with partiality by killing demons? These questions arose in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj, and therefore he inquired from Shukdev Goswami. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruh Shri Utaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam sadavaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Suratau Pango Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagar Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshthali Visevyamano Smarami Srimandra Sarasarambhi Vamshi Vatatatastita Karshan Venu Swanergopi Gopinathaya Shrestunaha तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवार्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाब्दये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिद श्री गौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे श्रीरूपानुग विरुद्धाप अपसिद्धांत ध्वान्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टसज्जनप्रिया वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So I welcome all the devotees for today's morning Shrimad Bhagavatam discussion. Today is also a very auspicious day of Vijaya Ekadashi, and also we are beginning the seventh canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned in Shrimad Bhagavatam that there are 10 topics of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Mantvantare Ishanukatha Nirodho Muktirashrayah. So there are 10 topics of Shrimad Bhagavatam, and yes, Shrimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedas. Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Srimad Bhagavatamishyate Tadrupasya Vinirtasya Nanyatra Syat Rati Kvachit. If one gets taste in Srimad Bhagavatam, understand Srimad Bhagavatam, then no other scriptures needs to be read. So because Sarva Vedanta Saram hi, it's the essence of all the Vedas, and it describes the 10 topics. The main topic is glorification of the Lord, and each canto has a specific theme. And so this seventh canto is called as Uti, the inclinations. So in Padma Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam is compared to different limbs of the Lord. And as we take the darshan of the Lord from the lotus feet to the lotus face of the Lord, so in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have reached to the lotus arms of the Lord. So now these two cantos, 7 and canto 8, is compared to the lotus hand. So canto 6 was Poshanam, that how Lord protects his devotees, or how he does portion of bhakti of his devotees is mentioned. As in Bhagavad Gita, when Lord answered Arjuna's question in second chapter of Gita, and Arjuna was confused whether to renounce or whether to work, because Krishna spoke both. Actually, Krishna spoke action with detachment. And then the other chapters of Bhagavad Gita unfolds. Here also, Parikshit Maharaj, being the great devotee of the Lord, and he is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and these wonderful pastimes, that how Lord protects his devotees. The thought came in his mind that is Lord partial? Because in this world, in a negative connotation, they call nepotism, favoritism, or no, we like somebody and then we favor people. So is this contamination in Supreme Lord also? Is Lord Vishnu also like favoring his own favorites or those who listens to him? So this is a quite obvious question. But Parishit Maharaj is not an ordinary person. He is Mahabhagavat. He knows his question was not that, oh, Lord protected Indra, he protected devotion of Vritrasur, will he protect me also? His question is not that. It is asking, is Lord partial? Because if that is the thing, then it doesn't fit to the character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because what is the nature of the Supreme Lord? Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. So he says, Mama Vamsha Jiva Loke. Every living entity, every individual is part and parcel of Krishna. And Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Matta Sarva Pravartate. So I am the master of everyone. Aham Bija Pradapita. He is the father of everyone. So is how that a father is having different disposition for his different children. So is Lord a favorite? Like he favors somebody and he punishes someone? No. That's why this canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, seventh canto, it signifies or it amplifies or describes the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam that is called as Uti, mm, or the desires or the inclinations. And that's why there are two kinds of desires. We say Shubha and Ashubha Ichha or inclinations. So sometimes people are inclined to the negativities, towards the sense gratification, towards harming themselves, or in one sense, to enjoy in this material world, to try to lord over the material nature. So this is called as the Ashubha Ichha or improper inclination. And if somebody is inclined to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understanding the essence of all knowledge, then that is the positive inclination or Shubha Ichha or good Uti. That's why if you see, this canto will manifest the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Now, in one sense, if you see, both are devotees. Who is Hiranyakashipu? He is being cursed to become a demon. So, when a jiva he separately desires to enjoy from Krishna, then he gets into the clutches of Maya and try to enjoy separately from Krishna. And that's how he develops this mentality of sense gratification or to lord over material nature and suffer in this world. So Krishna is not impartial. So how to understand this? Because if you say Krishna says, I am situated in everyone's heart as super soul, right? He witnesses everyone's action. And Prabhupada mentions in purport that Sammoham sarva bhuteshu namedvishwasti na priya. O Arjun, I am equal to everyone, and there is no one who is dear to me, or I envy no one. But elsewhere, Krishna says, Ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya, maite teshu chapiham. Right? But if someone worship me with devotion, then I reciprocate with him accordingly. So is it contradictory? So Krishna says here, Samoham sarve bhuteshu named vishwasti na priya. So no one is equal to me, like no one is dear to me, nor is anyone my enemy. But then he says, Ye bhajante tu mam bhaktya. But if someone worships me, then definitely I reciprocate with him accordingly. So we'll just try to understand this wonderful nature of Supreme Personality of Godhead. To understand the Supreme Lord is not so easy. Krishna himself says, Chanma karma chame divyam, evam yoiti tatvata, tyaktva dhiya punarjanma neti mamiti sorjan. To understand the nature of Supreme Personality of Lord is so difficult if we have not surrendered unto Him. If we try to understand with our own intelligence, then we can never understand the Supreme Lord. And that's why there always two mentalities exist in this world, the demoniac mentality and the divine mentality, which Krishna speaks about in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it's always seen that God is always a problem for an atheist or a demonic people. They always want to conquer the Lord, to kill him or to compete with him. So God is always problem for them. And because they do not have devotional service or they do not have desire to surrender to understand the Supreme Lord, then they get into more and more envy, and they manifest their atheism. They do not want to surrender to Supreme Lord. They question the existence of the Supreme Lord. Hmm? So such people, Krishna says, they are in 16th chapter only. Krishna says they are thrown into the hellish planets. So here, Lord says, I am equal to everyone at the same time. So how to understand this neutrality of the Lord? So Srila Prabhupada, because this is the question raised by Parikshit Maharaj, and he will ask this for three or four verses. He will ask the question, and then Narad Muni starts answering. Shukdev Goswami starts answering, quoting the conversation between Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj. So Lord is impartial in a sense that Lord is equal to give his mercy to everyone like the sun. Sun is never, sun never does partiality. Okay, whenever the sun rises, he equally shines, right? Somebody himself get bound himself in a darkness, then he cannot get access to the sunlight. But then I was thinking, when we say somebody is neutral, he does not take side, it doesn't mean it is like a stone. We can say stone is also neutral, right? So, the stone has no emotions, no feelings. But then when we say Lord is impartial, so he's not like that, he just keep watching. So it is mentioned, Srila Prabhupada writes in further purport, maybe in the 12th verse purport of this chapter, that so the Supreme Lord is like the judge. Now, if you see the judge in the court has to be neutral. He cannot take sides. Because if he takes sides, then he cannot do proper justice. Right? So Supreme Lord is like a judge, and then he gives his the judgment based on the inclination of the jiva. That's why the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Master. In this world, people want to favor somebody whom we love or who acts in favor of us. But Supreme Lord is Surudham Sarvadehinam. He is friend to everyone, and that's why he's. So, how we can understand he's equal to everyone? He's equally giving mercy to everyone. So, anyone who takes his shelter, then he surrenders. He gives a shelter. Anyone who surrenders unto the Supreme Lord, then Lord gives him the shelter. Today also happens to be Vijaya Ekadashi. And I just went through what is the glory of this Ekadashi. And this Ekadashi was observed by Lord Shri Ram. It is mentioned in the glorification of this Ekadashi. Before getting into the war, he observed this and he asked a Rishi, Bhagdabha Rishi, that what is to be done. And that's why anybody who observes this Ekadashi, it was mentioned, he gets victory. And Lord Ram himself has observed this Ekadashi. So Lord Ram, he says, Sakri Deva Prapannoyam. Anyone who surrenders unto me, if he just goes in front of the Supreme Lord and says, Oh my Lord, I'm yours, please accept me, then the Supreme Lord immediately accepts him. And there's a beautiful story in Ramayana, it is mentioned that when Bibhishan, he came to take shelter of Lord Ram, so everybody was confused. Even Sugriv, the king and the chief, he thought he is from the opponent's army. So nobody can understand us except the Supreme Lord. That's why he's a supreme judge. He will really award based on what our real intentions, and because there's a people outside, they judge by our actions, but the Lord, he sees our intentions. So when Vibhishan came, so everybody was thinking that he has come from the army of the opposite army, he may harm us. Only Lord Ram, yes, Lord Ram knew as a super soul, he knows that Vibhishan is a devotee, but Hanumanji also knew because he'd been to Lanka. So Vibhishan came, he meets Lord Ram, and Lord Ram immediately declares that Vibhishan, that you would be the future king of Lanka. And others get shocked. The war is yet to happen. And what if Ravana wins the war? So because Vibhishan is already declared a king. And so Lord Ram says, if we lose this war, I'll make Vibhishana the king of Ayodhya. So Lord is impartial in the sense he's always ready to give his mercy to everyone. That's how anybody who chants the holy name of the Lord, he gets purified. And so Lord is equally giving his mercy, but based on our reciprocation, Lord reciprocates with us. So there's a beautiful story that how even if the difficulties comes in our life, how we can remain equipoised and see it as a mercy of the Supreme Lord. Like in Bhagavatam elsewhere it is mentioned, because this quality of being partial is because we are into dualities. This world is full of dualities, and this dualities is due to we are into three modes. And so Krishna is Nirguna, he is beyond three modes, so definitely he is not partial. But the people, that's how Prahlad Maharaj would also say, in this world, people consider that he is my friend, he is my enemy. But what is the quality of a Uttama Bhakta? The Madhyama, he discriminates Maitri, Kripa, Prem, Upeksha. But Uttamadhikari sees everybody, that potential that everybody is devotee of the Lord and part and parcel of the Lord. So Shrimad Bhagavatam says, what to say of the Supreme Lord? Even the devotees who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Lord, they are not affected by the modes. So what to say of the Supreme Lord? Definitely he is impartial. So there is a story just to understand that how, if we see Krishna's hand, even in adversity, then we are never affected and we see the mercy of the Lord in every situation. It is mentioned that in a village there was one family staying, and so sometimes if you serve the Supreme Lord and some adversity comes in our life, immediately people questions, oh, you have surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and how could such adversity come upon you? But see, devotees see this as mercy of the Lord. So just a folk story, we can say, for the sake of taking lesson. So this family was staying and they have a son, and suddenly one day a horse came to their campus or their house, and they accepted the horse. And people started congratulating, oh, you are worshipping or you are believing in God, so God has gifted you this horse. They say it is the desire of the Lord. If he wants to give, he will give. If he wants to take, he will take. And the child uses that horse because horse has come, and he starts playing with that horse. And the child breaks his bone while doing the horse riding. And the people comes and say, oh, how unfortunate you people are that no, you got a horse, but because of this horse, your child's bones have broken. And the family, the father, he is completely dependent on the Lord. So he said, okay, whatever is Lord's desire. So the horse has come on his way, on his own, and my child has broken his bone. So he was just patiently waiting. And suddenly there is a news in their area that there's a war happening, and all the people in from their home, they have to send their children for the war. So they started collecting the young children's, the young people from different houses, and they came to their house also, and they saw this child has already broken his bones, so he cannot go for the war. And the neighbors again thought, oh, how fortunate these people are, because the child has broken their bones, so he will not go for war. And the other children's, it is forced. We see some countries, they're always and on verge of war, so almost everybody is trained to fight, right? So then these people said, oh, you are so fortunate that you have surrendered unto the Supreme Lord and he has protected your child. And again, the family said, whatever Lord's desires. So the adversities would come in life, but the devotees, they see that it as an mercy of the Supreme Lord. Because we are discussing here the seventh canto, Uti, inclinations. So some people, they're always inclined to asuric tendencies, challenging God, trying to become God. And there is Shubha Ichha or a positive inclination where they always want to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord's mercy, how to understand this mercy? So mercy comes in different ways. Hmm? Everything is the mercy of the Supreme Lord in one sense. That's how he's impartial. Because when Krishna says, Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, if you serve him, if you love him, you offer devotional service unto him, then definitely you will achieve Krishna. But even if somebody envies Krishna, somebody, like we have example, Shishupal, Dantavakra, Ravan, all these personalities, they always try to compete with Lord. They always try to, kill Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu himself, the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He wants to kill the Lord. But Lord's mercy comes in different ways. Even Lord has killed these demons, he has uplifted them or purified them. So another story came in my mind from Ramayana again. that when Ravana went to Marichi and he said that you go and fight with Lord Ram. So Marichi said, I already had a previous experience with Lord Ram. So he's very powerful and I don't want to go and fight with him. So I think Marichi is Ravana's maternal uncle or some relation. And so he told Marichi, you have to go and fight. He said, I will not go. Then Ravana was really angry. Raman said, if you won't go, then I will kill you. Then Marichi thinks, oh, it's better to get killed by Lord Ram than to get killed by Ravana himself. Because if I get killed by Lord Ram, at least I'll get some higher destination. And that's how he decided that better I'll try to follow Ravan's instruction. And if I'm getting killed by Lord Ram, definitely I'll get higher destination. So even these Paribhasha Shudra of Srimad Bhagavatam says, Etecham shakalha pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Logam Radayanti Yuge Yuge. So Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead and he always favors the demons or the suras. And so then there's a beautiful pastime again would unfold in the 8th canto or the further cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, where we also see this apparent partiality of the Supreme Lord, that is Samudra Manthan Leela. So Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, Evam sura suraguna samadesha kala hetvartha karma matayo falayo vikalpa. He says, Evam sura asuraguna samadesha kala. If you see, even in this pastime of Samudra Manthan, both the demigods and the demons, they worked hard to get the nectar. Evam sura suragana samadesha kala. Samadesha. So they were in the equal plane, same place, samadesha kala. Hetvartha karma fatayo. So they performed the activities, took efforts, but falaye vikalpa. It is mentioned, but the fruit, the result was different. So both of them, they tried their hard best to get the nectar, but the demons, they didn't receive the nectar, and the demigods, they received the nectar. So there, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, because demigods have taken shelter of Krishna, so they received the nectar. So when this demoniac mentality raises in the society, and Lord also allows them to flourish for some time, because there are different modes existing in this material world, mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. And whenever this tamogun, rajogun is more, the demons, they get powerful. But the Supreme Lord, he always comes to the rescue of demigods who are always in Satvaguna, and they are favored by the Supreme Lord and they are protected by the Supreme Lord. So how to understand that even the Lord punishes his devotees? The other day, I was hearing Adikasha Prabhu gave a beautiful example of Kalia getting chastised, and his wife were the devotees. So even this, we see Krishna has killed Trinavarta, Agha, Baka, Putana, and he reciprocated differently with different demons. But specifically, this Kalia was shown extra favor. So there is always a punishment whenever there is some misdeed, right? So whenever a punishment is given, why the punishment is given? Whenever a punishment is given, it is for rectification, for purification, not for troubling the person. Even our scripture says, whenever a king, he gives a judgment that somebody has to get killed, it is said that it is mercy on that person, because he has done some offense or some sinful activities and he is getting relieved of it if he gets punished. So punishment is for rectification or for purification. So like for example, a police catches a thief and he beats him with the belt. So the police is trying to correct the miscreant or the person who has done. But there is also a mother who is slapping her child. So both are giving punishment, isn't it? So Lord also, He rewards or punishes based on our inclination. So sometimes devotees do make mistake. It's not that only demons are getting punished. Even we see in the sixth canto, when Indradev dishonored his guru Brihaspati, he fell from his position, isn't it? But the problem is, if you surrender unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, you understand your mistake. So it's like a mother slapping a child. It's like correcting her child. Like I remember very nicely, Gauranga Prabhu explains with these words, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam hitam priyam chayat. Anudvega karam vakyam. One should be never speak udvegli. Means you should not, yasman no dvijate loko, loka no dvijate chaya. So when you speak, satyam priyam we should speak. So, but when a teacher scolds a student, or parents scold their children, so a child would go and say to his parent, oh, you don't know, you are devotee, you are not reading Gita. Krishna says, Anudvega karam vakyam. You should not speak in a way that it would displease somebody. No. Parents, out of love, in order to discipline their child, when they scold their children, that is also Anudvega only. So because that is out of love. So that's why there are two ways people are punished. I gave example like a police trying to correct a thief and a mother trying to correct a child. So those who do not surrender to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord is like a supreme judge, punishing them, correcting them. At the same time, when devotees make mistakes, definitely Lords discipline them as well. And it's like a mother trying to correct a child. And that's why sometimes we see that there is an adversity in the life of a devotee as well. So he takes it as a mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and more surrenders unto him. So for the for those who have not taken unto the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have asuric tendencies, so for them, like we have, so mother would correct a child, but if there is a theft in the house, he would call the police, right? He won't correct a theft and start giving class to him and make, console him. So Krishna also has a facility. So Krishna doesn't want to directly, in one sense, act in the life of those who do not surrender unto him, but he has given that task to Maya Devi, to his external energy. So he tells Maya that please go and correct him. And that's why these laws of nature and the law of karma, everything acts on them and they're getting trained. But for devotees, he is like the father. So he himself takes charge of devotees and then he tries to correct the devotees. So this quality of impartiality does not affect the Supreme Personality of Godhead because Lord is above three moods. Krishna says, Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyete sacharacharam mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantate. So like the Lord is master of this prakriti. Those who are bound by these modes of material nature, they have this quality of making friends and enemies, but Lord is equal to everyone. At the same time, the Lord is very kind to reciprocate with his devotees. So I was just I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrit. Now Gaur Purnima is also coming. So many times the Lord is seen that only he fights with the demons, he protects Indra. So Chaitanya Charitamrit mentions that's not the only thing the Lord does. So it is mentioned in the fourth chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrit. Swayam Bhagavanera karma nahe bhara haran sthiti karta Vishnu karena jagata palan. So Lord is very kind, he is very loving, and so the Supreme Lord himself, hmm, as the avatari Krishna, so he does not directly take a charge of punishing the miscreants in one sense. You also know when Lord Krishna killed the demons, so it is mentioned Sthiti Karta Vishnu Kare Jagata Palan. So that in that capacity of him, the Lord, he kills the demons, like uh, he killed Shishupal, Dantavakra. Then when he came as Lord Ram, he killed Ravan. Or as Narsimhadev, he killed Hiranyakashipu. As Varahadev, he killed Hiranyaksha. So, but the Supreme Lord, he also comes to this world to give the supreme love and attract jivas towards him. So that's why it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusham Dehamashita Bhajate Tadrishi Krida Ya Shritva Tat Paro Bhavet. So when Lord comes and performs these pastimes, this now wonderful pastime is unfolding in Bhagavatam, that how Lord protects Prahlad and how he punishes or delivers Hiranyakashipu. Both is mercy. But when Lord comes to this world, he performs this pastime so that bhajate tadrishi krida. These pastimes of the Supreme Lord, when we hear, then yashutva tat paro bhavet. Then we also understand that one needs to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God and perfects one's life. So this appearance of Lord Chaitanya is very special. Parama Karuna Pahudai Jana Nitai Gaurachandra Sabha Avatara Sara Shiromani Keval Ananda Kanda. So this the supreme merciful nature of the Lord, we can see through this wonderful appearance of the Supreme Lord. And he says, Kona Karane Yabe Haila Avatare Mana Yuga Dharma Kala Haila Sekale Milana. So the Supreme Lord, he appeared Yada Yada Dharmasya, to establish religion or dharma in this world. But this Supreme Lord, Krishna himself, appearing as Lord Chaitanya, why? Dui hetu avatar laya bhakta gana apane aswade prema nama sankirtana. The same Lord who punishes the miscreants, who awards or rewards his devotees, has come as Lord Chaitanya to unequally or to equally distribute his mercy to each and every one of us. He says, Sei dware achandale kirtana sanchare nama prema mala gathi paraila samsare. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says that one has to purify his heart, give up sinful tendencies, and then Krishna accepts. But here, Lord Chaitanya, Sei dware achandale kirtana sanchare. So Lord has appeared in this merciful incarnation and Achandale. So he is like the sun who rises in the morning and equally gives his sunlight to everyone. The Supreme Lord Chaitanya has come so that he can deliver everyone. How? Nama Prema Mala Gati Paraila Samsare. By offering this beautiful garland of Nama Sankirtan. यही मत भक्त भाव करी अंगीकार आपनी आचर्य भक्ति करिला prachar. And that's how the Supreme Lord, he himself has come as his devotee to teach us that how one can surrender unto the Supreme Lord and can develop love for him. So it is mentioned elsewhere that um, um, na dekhe sthana sthan yaha de means he does not see who is qualified, who is unqualified, and he gives his love to each and everyone. So this is the Supreme Lord's mercy, that even we see that sometimes it is seen that Lord favors his devotees or those who follows his instruction, but Lord is equal in the sense that he awards equal opportunity to everyone to take his surrender. So by that, he is neutral to everyone. He opens his door, the door of love for him for everyone equally. At the same time, whoever desires to enter, then he reciprocates with them. So he is impartial, like the judge, that he would give his judgment. At the same time, he is very reciprocal with his devotees who have taken his shelter, and that's how ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya. Whatever way you want to serve Krishna, whether as a friend, as a servant, as a master, so Krishna reciprocates with that. So in heart of what I was thinking, that we may consider as a devotee, but the currency for devotional service is faith, shraddha. So if we develop enough faith for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, purify our heart, then we can understand the Supreme Lord to greater extent and see His mercy, impartiality, and His love. There are beautiful examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami says he delivered Putana and he gave the position of mother. What if we surrender and lovingly serve Krishna? Ajamil, he took the name of Lord just as an indication. Still, he receives the mercy of the Lord. What to say when devotees start loving Krishna? Krishna also feels so much overwhelmed with the love of devotees. He said, I cannot reciprocate. So there's a pastime of Sudama. And Sudama entered when Sudama came to meet Krishna. And very beautiful pastime, but there Krishna says, I cannot reciprocate with Sudama. Sudama is thinking, Kwaham daridra papiyam, kwa Krishna shiniketane, Brahma bandhu idis maham bahubhyam rambita. Oh Krishna, what is my qualification? I'm just a Brahmana in namesake. You are the husband of Goddess of Fortune, the Supreme Lord. Still you embraced me. And Krishna is thinking, oh, my devotee is so great that I cannot reciprocate with him. So Krishna says, because what Sudama gave me, I cannot exchange with him, because the Sudama gave such incredible gift to Krishna when he came to meet him. That is some broken chipped rice, but that is the gift which Krishna says I cannot reciprocate. And Acharya has explained, because Krishna says Sudama has brought something for me which he didn't had. He begged from different people, and out of love he brought it for me. So if I have to give something matching to Sudama, then I also have to have get something from someone and give it to Sudama, but everything belongs to me. That's how Krishna didn't reciprocate with Sudama. At the same time, he allowed Sudama to go in a wretched condition. He didn't even send his cart to drop him. And Sudama was walking back towards his home, and he was thinking that Krishna is so merciful, and Lord is thinking that I cannot reciprocate, my devotee is so great. And that's how when Sudama reaches his place, he sees that his home has been transformed into a palace. So Lord didn't reciprocate that, because he was thinking, even if I give whatever complete wealth of mine to him, it is unparalleled to the devotion of my devotee. So Lord is an sentient, absolute is sentient, thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast removed, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Thakur says. So in his capacity as super soul, or as a Brahman, or no, he's equal, he's also like a judge, and at the same time he's like father to the devotees, correcting them, as a police to a thief, those who don't follow him. Through the agency of Maya or through the law of karma, people are purified. But in whatever sense, Krishna is friend to everyone. He wants to purify living entities. He wants that we rectify our position, start loving Supreme Lord, and perfect our life and make ourselves happy. Thank you so much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Any comments? Welcome. Hare Krishna. Question.
Prabhu, how do we avoid being called as partial in a working space where, as an authority or an in charge, you have, you have to get the work done, right? There are some people you listen to you and get the work done. There are some who don't, even after telling 10 times they don't. And then when you're trying to be nice with those who have done, which is very natural, even the mother, if she has two kids, she always favors the one who's very obedient to her, right? So how to it's you don't want to be partial to anybody. But when you're just being nice to that person, not that you're cruel to this person, but they see that, oh, you love her, but you have more attraction to her, but not to us. How to be called as non-partial, even if you want to do, even if you want to be equal to everyone.
Uh, I would like to just give a principle based answer, because you are much seniors to me and you have practical experience of spiritual life. But still, whatever Bhagavatam says, so your example is very specific, as parents favoring child, something like that, or in a workspace.
Yeah,
No, there
workspace.
are some people who follow, and yes, first the principle based answer is Bhagavatam says, because only a Uttam Adhikari, he will not distinguish actually. So, but the Madhyam Adhikari would has to distinguish, and that's how he can preach. So definitely some distinction has to be made. So ignorant people, that's why innocent people we can help, ignorant people we cannot, right?
Mhm.
And I feel that even this is a very good example. Actually, parents, I was thinking even why the Lord is compared to a mother or a father. Even they have different children. I have seen most of the time, if a child who doesn't listen much, who is not much obedient, actually they are more concerned about them, isn't it, as a
Yeah.
parent? Because somebody who's doing good in studies, somebody is listening to you, and you know that he's going to thrive in his life. But somebody who is not, then he's going to definitely get into difficulties. And in my home, I have seen I had two maternal uncles. One is very good scholar, he has achieved very good position in society, and the other one is like completely not. But I have seen the parents are more, no, worried and more attention giving to the person. So they definitely there's a natural reciprocation if somebody's, you know, listens to us and we reciprocate. But if we know that he is mine, he is my own, mm, then there is always that thought in heart, uh, at least praying or expecting good for that person, right? So it doesn't mean the child doesn't listen to you, stop loving him. Or I've seen even the parents to go to any extent. So I'm telling specifically now this scenario of home. So, and yes, in outside world, then when things are to be done, and for some practical sense, we may do that. But ultimately, if we are into an institution or a spiritual institution, so we also have a higher principle in mind, that we want to encourage, inspire people. So to the best of capacity, we can take decisions and inspire people to come out of it. So in case of parents, I feel they're more concerned about one who is not listening. They may give more love, or they may feel better somebody is following their instructions. But because parents love both children equally, so they are also concerned, aware, and they will do their best to help that other child also, like that.
Yeah, this is a very important question. Even a disciples sometimes they will feel that the guru is partial. So once it was, someone said, "Why is Maharaj spending so much time with rich people?" And sometimes it is heard, "Arey, Maharaj gives so much mercy to this person." So it is just the maturity of the disciple to understand. He spends more time with this person because he has that type of responsibility. It is not that, like one disciple once asked Maharaj, "I feel you don't love me." So he said, "You should never ever think like that. A guru cannot be thinking, Guru loves everyone, all his disciples. If a disciple thinks like that, that is his immaturity." So one is, as per the responsibility, he will be giving his time, attention. And as far as the rich people are concerned, so he said they have their own type of an ego. So if I don't deal with them the they want it, they would go far away. So finally, it comes on us that how do we see with this understanding? So otherwise, the guru is equal to everyone. So he is never partial. It may appear externally, Are he has no time for us. Maybe I am not. Uh, it's not true. And there are also disciples who don't understand English at all, but they feel connected. There are so many. They don't understand anything, but they feel that, he smiled at me, and for the rest of their life, they feel that my guru loves me like anything. So this is one type of thing which we should. So I have a question. See, demoniac qualities are there. Someone who is totally pure, like you are giving example of Sudama and all. The Lord becomes his servant. It's that. But as a disciple, we also have demoniac qualities. Yeah? Divine qualities, well, with the association of devotees, but there are which now when we know it is there, and now after hearing from you, the Lord is going to do something to rectify. And that is also a sign of, huh? I know, it's a love that is good. So now you are very fearful. How is he going to rectify? क्या करने वाले? So is it you go to your guru and say that please do something to rectify me in advance?
Mm, Actually, when somebody is really serious about spiritual, I was hearing to Guru Maharaj, he was telling that in the material world, if you want to go from first standard to second standard, the things become more difficult, exams become more difficult. The more person wants to quicker purify himself, he has to get ready for bigger exams. Otherwise, I feel Krishna is so kind, he understands how much we can take. And so that's how Maharaj was telling that if somebody has to grow in spiritual life, then one has to uh, get ready for the higher exams. That's how you graduates and you grow in spiritual life. So there are devotees or there are people who really understands this urgency and importance, and they really want to go purify themselves, and they take to hardships in life and purify themselves. But then I remember once Mohan Vilas Prabhu was telling that if we know where we are in our spiritual life and we accept that, then it's become easy for us to grow in spiritual life. So wherever we are. So because third standard is difficult for the first standard child. But for the fifth standard student, third standard is nothing. He can give exam without studying also. So like that, wherever we are, if we accept that, oh, I am at this situation and I need to grow in my spiritual life, based on that, accept the test. And like Prabhupada telling Gurudas Prabhu, get down, Delhi station has come and start the center. But if somebody asks me to go and just do some village program, I'm fearful. So it depends on the surrender and the faith and the rectified. So, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.